Robert St. John in the NBC newsroom in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be approaching a fateful hour. All night long, bulletins have been pouring in from Berlin claiming that D-Day is here, claiming that the invasion of Western Europe has begun.
June 6, 1944. Operation Overlord. Bombs cascaded from the skies. Bodies of young soldiers washed ashore. The tension was in the air. Blooded cries sounded throughout the battlefield. The beaches of Normandy had been stormed with Allied troops, battleships, and barrage balloons. D-Day had finally arrived.
On June 6, 1944, the D-Day operation was brought into action. The operation brought together the land, sea, and air forces to create one of the biggest and ambitious invasions known to man. The invasion delivered 5 naval assaults in Normandy, France. About 133,000 troops from the U.S., the British Commonwealth, and their allies landed on the beaches of Normandy. U.S., British, and Canadian troops crossed the English Channel to deliver the assault.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
A spy. A person who secretly collects and reports information on activities, movements, and plans of an enemy or competitor. War wasn't always about fighting. Rather, intelligence gathering was an important part of it. On July 1943, a secret group of officers called the London Control Section began to devise a deceptive operation codenamed Bodyguard. At the time, deception was already a common part of World War II, as it was used in previous battles and attacks. And to get this fake plan to the highest enemy command possible was the foundation for D-Day. The main objective, codenamed Operation Fortitude South, was to have Germans believe that the invasion was to take place via the shortest and easiest route from Dover to Pont de Calais. Little did they know, the invasion was to take place in Normandy. General Patton was publicly announced to be leading the fictitious army, the first United States Army group, stationed in southeast England in 1944. This statement strengthened the idea of Operation 42 South, as General Patton had a lot of credibility. He was a senior field commander and possibly one of the most feared generals by the Germans. In May 1944, the Allied forces had finally prepared to deliver the greatest attack, Operation Overlord. Supreme Commander General Dwight D. Eisenhower led the invasion with the coordinated efforts of 12 nations on Normandy. Adolf Hitler had been tipped off by Allied undercover agents posing as German sympathizers that the invasion was to take place in Pont de Calais rather than Normandy. This resulted in Hitler putting a bulk of vital supplies in his Panzer divisions in the Calais area. Landing in Normandy was notoriously challenging because of the unpredictable weather and rough seas of the English Channel, which delayed their attack to June 6. The Allied forces also had to deal with the Atlantic Wall, the 2,400-mile line of obstacles across the shores of Normandy. The Germans spent months constructing the Atlantic Wall and had placed over 6.5 million mines and thousands of concrete bunkers, pillboxes, and more than 10,000 tank pits. Just after midnight on June 6, 1944, Allied airborne paratroopers began to drop behind enemy lines. Their job was to blow up pathways that prevented German reinforcements from entering Normandy.
American and British aircraft supported the shock troops magnificently, preventing the Germans from marshalling reinforcements. American marauders plastered peaceful-looking forests, the hiding places of Nazi tank formations and vicious dumps of high explosive. And in the skies, bombers and fighters maintained cover for the ground forces below.
Hours later, massive naval and aerial bombardment stormed the beaches of Normandy at 6:30 a.m. The Allied forces had planned the landing of troops in 5 separate beaches. The Americans landed in Utah and Omaha, while the British and Canadian troops landed in Juneau, Sword, and Gold. Battle was fiercest in Omaha, where the American troops came from their landing boats just to get pinned down by murderous machine guns by the Germans. The Omaha section was by far the bloodiest, with it turning into a vast killing field. By midday, the Omaha beach was captured by the Americans, but at what cost? In a total of over 34,000 Allied soldiers, more than 2,400 were wounded, killed, or missing, around more than a 7% decrease in soldiers. Around nightfall, more than 160,000 Allied soldiers were ashore and nearly 1 million more were on their way.
D-Day was truly one of the most gruesome battles of World War II. It turned the tide to favor the Allies at the cost of at least 10,000 dead Allied soldiers and approximately 5,000 to 9,000 Axis soldiers killed. It is known as one of the bloodiest battles in World War II. As one accounts, the beach was a total chaos with men's bodies everywhere, with wounded men crying both in the water and on the bingo. The battle eventually paved the way for the Battle of Normandy, also known as Operation Overlord. It was a major turnover in the war, leading to German defeat. The war was won